sure you leave all that in.
Oh, definitely. So I'm here with Andy from The Bearded Vegans, and we're in Austin the day before Texas Veg Fest. Tell me about your podcast, Bearded Vegans.
We talk about vegan food, we talk about vegan issues. Our sort of vegan bread and butter are like the ethical gray areas of veganism. And we also like to talk about issues that are going on within the vegan community. Specifically, like pro-intersectional issues are things that we like to kind of talk about and give our perspective on.
You couldn't figure out the world's theory for yourself?
You kind of carve out a space in which you normalize this type of veganism that's like, oh yay, cupcakes, but also critical of like, should we eat roadkill? Should we say all lives matter?
Yeah, well, I think it's important. I feel like a lot of people see the certain type of vegan and they think they're always angry about this thing and they're always really like militant and radical and there's no fun to be had there. And then there's like the other end of the spectrum where there are people that are like scared to talk about any real issue because they're afraid of offending their viewership or their listener base away from they talk about some political thing that might offend someone, and we're trying to like kind of put those things together. We're certainly not the first to do it, but we hope we have our own kind of unique voice in the whole thing and show people like you can get really excited that the new vegan taco place opened up, but you can also get really pissed off when there's some like major organization that all of a sudden like endorses Trump or something like that.
Right.
You can talk about both those things, and you can talk about how those things are connected and kind of one and the same in many instances, and why vegans should talk about those issues.
Like how you manage having like a nomadic life where you sell stuff at different veg fests and how you balance that with the pod.
It's a real juggling act for sure. So yeah, I live entirely in my van. I have most of my inventory is in the van with me, and it's kind of like a really slow tour. Like I have an event every weekend, most weekends out of the year. And yeah.
So like 40, 50 stuff?
I think it was like 35 last year. It really kind of slows down like during when it's winter time.
Right.
But yeah, so basically I have a week to get from one location to the next. Sometimes it's something like the drive I just did, California to Texas, where it's 22 hours, and that's like, you don't have a lot of time to do stuff in between, and you're really trying to carve out just a little bit of time to record or research and figure out what you're going to talk about. And then you also, I'm also running this business by myself, so I'm answering emails, I'm selling mail orders, so my days are pretty full between those two things. Getting the podcast out is just a matter of setting a schedule, and like for the most part every Tuesday night is podcast night, so we know that it's happening, and we know that neither of us are really going to try and push it off unless something big comes up.
Yeah.
And that has been like crucial for actually making sure we are a weekly podcast that consistently releases every Wednesday because we have that schedule.
Yeah, you were telling me like y'all first started out publishing like right then and there, but now you kind of have like a week lag, so you can add in like the different jokes and whatnot.
Seinfeld sound clips most of the time.
What's the deal with PETA or whatever? I think that's another thing you
Pip, pip to you too.
And how did like the whole droopy dog thing get started? I'm curious.
It's just a voice that I like to do, and so anytime there's something with an alliteration of like bees, like black bean soup, droopy dog comes out, and it's just silly and ridiculous, and some people seem to really like it, so.
Hopefully, like, it will never come out, but I do a Scooby-Doo impression for my friend.
I feel like now is the time for it to come out. Is that like a row type thing? Maybe we could record like a bonus episode crossover where it's Droopy Dog and Scooby-Doo talking to each other. Like I had established the clothing company, and I was going to Veg Fest like locally, or like within like an 8-hour radius of Connecticut. I would go to everything I could, and I really enjoyed it. Prior to doing the clothing line, I was in a band that was touring full time, like overseas, like just constantly touring. I toured with a nonprofit doing vegan education work. So it's like 10 Billion Lives Tour.
Yes.
10billiontour.org if anyone wants to check it out. And so it's just like life on the road has been my life since like high school pretty much, and it's just a life that like really works for me. I love it. I get to travel, I get to visit friends, I get to go to cool vegan restaurants and have interesting experiences and hike all over the place. So that is something that like kind of fuels me. It gives me a ton of alone time, and I'm like super introvert, so I really like my alone time to recharge.
You're telling me that you like to think while you're driving on the road? It's
Yes.
like meditative?
Yeah, that's where ideas definitely pop up along the road, and unfortunately I'm not able to write them down while I'm out driving on the road, but...
You need one of those, like, note to self.
Yes, exactly. So it was just like out of necessity. I realized that, especially with like changing algorithms online, I can't rely on Instagram to get me people buying my shirts. It's like nothing really works like actually just being out there and just having your shirts in front of your core people, which are the vegans at the Veg Fest. And it's also just a lot of fun because there's like this weird disconnect when you're online, because you might send out a shirt, but you don't know if the person likes it, if they're happy. And at a Veg Fest, you see people walk up and they smile and they laugh and they think something's clever or funny, or they had never seen a phrase like that before. And so that's like artistically on some level, that's like rewarding to know that like people resonate with what you're doing.
I definitely know what you mean, seeing people react like live, because I used to contribute to my university's newspaper, and people would open the paper to my editorial cartoon and they'd be like, oh.
If I had any like person inspiration, it would be Kristen from Will Travel for Vegan Food, because she did the van living thing. She traveled for 2 years eating at every vegan restaurant possible.
Wow.
And so she is someone that I had definitely looked to, and was, you know, her thing was like, you're never gonna be ready, you just gotta go do it. And there's a whole community of van dwellers online, so I spent a long time looking on their forums, and they're very willing to share, you know, how to install solar and how to do this and places to camp and all those things. So all of those things combined equal to me living in my van.
Is he wearing a cape?
I believe he is wearing a cape.
What have been like some of the coolest interactions you've had with just random people listen to the podcast?
That's a good question. I think just the people that will come up and say that we are like their vegan community, or they went vegan and now they're at that Veg Fest like because of us. I actually just met someone at the Vegan Street Fair in Los Angeles last weekend who did the 10 Million Lives tour. She's currently doing it because she heard about it on the podcast. So that's like someone that's out there educating people because they heard about it on our little rinky-dink, you know, two guys just kind of talking to each other thing, and now she's actually out there like affecting real change. So things like that are really cool.
That's really inspiring. You put something out into the internet, like kind of like shooting it into space, and then someone like gets your bottle from the ocean.
Yeah. That's exactly what it's like. You're just kind of screaming into the void, hoping it resonates with somebody.
Yeah.
And thankfully it has.
I just imagine that scene from Seinfeld where he's like walking on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
I saw you at a Veg Fest, and I didn't know about the podcast, but I knew about your shirts. And somehow I found out about the podcast, like I Googled vegan on iTunes or something, and y'all popped up. And then I'm like, I've met him. And it was just like so cool to know, like to have seen the person who was like doing the thing.
Turns out I'm not good at promoting myself at Veg Fest, because I've had a lot of people that are like, wait a second, I started listening, and why didn't you mention this when I bought a shirt from you 2 weeks ago? And I'm just like, I don't know. I need to get some like flyers or something for the table, so I don't have to like push it. I don't want to push the podcast on anyone. I would never be like, you need to listen. They're like, okay, all right, I'll listen. Like, no. Yeah, I want to have something that we can start giving beardos that come out to fests and like say hi. So
yes, like a commemorative coin.
Even using their own framework, you would eat the opposite thing.
I love Dr. Greger as well.
Oh,
like he just makes me laugh because he, in my opinion, sounds like Seinfeld.
Whenever you talk about Dr. Greger, you have like the Seinfeld baseline thrown in there. I'm like, oh man.
I remember there was like some Veg Fest I did before doors opened. He was just going around saying hi, and he's like, "Compassion Code, dig the shirts, man." And I was just like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy right now."
Dr. Greger. It's like, cut out the middle move.
Yes.
I think he signed my sketchbook before. He was like, call me if you need something. I'm like, what are you? Like, he was putting his phone number in everyone's like book because he was autographing How Not to Die. He's like, let me know if there's anything I can help you or your family.
Call me if you die, I'll give you your money back.
So we just ate at the food truck over there, the Revolution Vegan Kitchen. I got like the 2 tacos, the El Castor and the carnitas, and Andy got
The barbecue chicken sandwich
yes.
with curly fries.
Yeah.
Spicy curly fries, seasoned curly fries. That really pushed it over the edge. I went to a
Yeah.
food cart yesterday and they just had plain old crinkle cut fries, which is
No.
my least favorite. Maybe right below steak fries, I think.
Right below steak fries?
I think steak fries are the worst.
The hierarchy of fries.
Yeah, and then like right above that is crinkle cut fries.
Yeah.
They really need to step up their fry game, but Revolution Vegan Kitchen
They
nailed
got
it
it
in the
down.
fry game.
And the burger itself?
It was good.
Yeah.
I wish it was a sweet barbecue sauce, but I can't fault them for not catering to my specific barbecue tastes.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very tasty sandwich. I'd eat here again.
I really enjoyed both of my tacos were jackfruit. Didn't taste like jackfruit at all, like really well seasoned and very spicy sauce, but Texas.
It's a good level of spice.
My mouth is really angry. Well, thank you, Andy, for being on my show or whatever this is.
Thank you for having me.